Welcome to the Odie's Gym 6-part video series designed to keep you informed and motivated to stay strong on your diet commitment through the 6 weeks of the challenge. This week's topic is all about getting you prepared for the challenge. If you have not chosen a diet yet, in today's video, I will go over each of the diets in the program. I'll also be giving you my top 10 tips for a successful diet challenge. We have 4 different diets for you to choose from. Number 1, we have the Calorie Counter diet, which is essentially a diet diary or a journal where you track everything that you eat. Number 2, we have the Fast Burner diet or fasting diet. Number 3, we have the Carnivore, which is otherwise known as a paleo or Atkins or ketogenic version of a diet. And number 4, we have the flesh-free diet, which is either a vegetarian, vegan, or it can even be a pescatarian style diet. Let's get a little bit deeper into the Calorie Counter diet. Now, you can get a piece of paper or you can get a notebook, you could track all the things that you're eating, and that's what I used to do in college. But these days, it's actually a lot easier than it's ever has been because you can just download an app like MyFitnessPal or My Food Diary. I'll have some more examples on the slideshow. Is that the key thing is you need to document all the foods that you've consumed. And you want to make sure that you're really focused on the serving size and the quantities of the foods that you're eating. Because most people aren't actually paying attention to the amount of the food that they're eating and they're over-consuming. This is a very common problem in American society today. Another key aspect, and you should actually do this with all the diets, there's key points that you should do on these slides with all your diets, is that you should check out and keep track of how foods make you feel. As you cut certain things out of your diet, you want to notice how the foods that you are eating are making you feel, because that's where I talked about before about how your diet is like a chemistry experiment. So I highly recommend use an app to track what you're doing, write down how foods are making you feel, and also make sure that you're staying focused. Each time you finish a meal, that's a trigger right there for you to focus on tracking the food that you eat. What you can do is once you've finished eating, even the next day, you could still put in the app what you've eaten that day or the day before. Next up is the Fast Burner diet. And as I mentioned in my speech, there's a couple different ways of doing this diet. Now, the way that I did it when I lost 20 pounds earlier this year in 2018 is that I would be on for 1 day and I'd be off for 3 days. So I was actually doing it where I'd be on the diet on Mondays and Fridays. I would consume 500 to 800 calories a day, and I would do that from only the hours of noon to 7 p.m. So it's really important that when you're doing this diet, you plan your schedule around your diet. You have to really, this is an important thing I tell lots of people, is you're usually living your life and your diet revolves around your life. You actually want your life to revolve around your diet. And so you want to schedule your diet, your way of life, so that you can eat not until noon those 2 days a week. Like I said, there's lots of different ways of doing the fasting style diet. But the main point when you're doing this diet, and with any diet or way of life, is you want to make sure you're consuming lots of water, because this helps you to control cravings. So I highly recommend keep a big bottle of water with you wherever you go, especially with the Fast Burner diet, because it's going to help you with your cravings. But with any diet, make sure that you're consuming plenty of water. Now we're talking about the Carnivore diet. Now the Carnivore diet, I've actually done this one a few times in the past too, and it's pretty similar to the paleo, Atkins, or ketogenic, or any low-carb diet that you've tried in the past. Now, the first point is that you want to make sure that you're getting quality sources of meat. Like, I've talked to vegetarians, and they had a really good argument where they would say, you don't want to eat an animal that's been afraid its whole life, or living in fear, or living angry its whole life. So wherever you're getting your meat from, pick a quality source. Living here in the Bay Area, we have lots of great farms that are local that you can pick up meat. I actually go to farmers markets where I get my meat sources. And the main point to why this diet, or way of life is so successful is because as you cut high glycemic carbs out of your life, and you need to do this is very important, you want to increase your good fat intake, your body usually is going to carbs for energy. A lot of people are over-consuming bread, pasta, rice, potatoes. And as you cut those things out of your life, a lot of that stuff, it gets turned to fat, because if you don't use up those high glycemic carbs, they get turned to fat. So what happens is, as you cut those things out and you shift to eating more good fat, your body turns to fat as a fuel source more readily whenever you're going about your day-to-day life. So this is one of the key points. When you cut those carbs and you increase your good fat intake and you're eating more protein, your body starts to just melt fat off of your body. Now, key point for this diet, and with any diet, like I said, each of these slides has a little bit of key information for any of my diets, is bring snacks. As I mentioned, you want to increase your good fat intake, and I recommend that for most of these diet programs if you're making changes, because that's going to help you to feel full and satisfied. So keep like a bag of nuts or some trail mix with you, keep it in your car, keep it handy at all times, and you're going to be much more successful and have sustained results. Last but not least, we have the flesh-free diet. And I've done this diet before. It's a vegetarian or a vegan style diet. Vegan being that you do not eat any animal products. Or you could do a pescatarian version of this diet, and that's where you're eating some fish. Now, the number one thing with this diet, and I actually recommend this for all the diets, is that you want to up your veggie and fruit intake. Now, when I say vegetables, that should really be the foundation for every diet, in my opinion. And then when it comes to fruit, it's much better for you to eat fruits that aren't like high fructose corn syrup or stuff that's going to cause a sugar spike in your system. So what happens is when you cut these high glycemic carbs, like I said, you need to increase your good fat intake because your body's going to be craving carbohydrates. I'll never forget my first time doing a strict diet, and I was actually like in the grocery store looking for something to eat, and I couldn't find anything that was on my diet because I had low blood sugar level. So this is a key point. Make sure you're prepared ahead of time. Plan ahead for events, and make sure that before you go to an event that you eat plenty of food, eat plenty of good fat, because it's happened to all of us. It's happened to me. You go to an event and they have like your favorite food there, and if you're hungry, the chances are you're probably going to eat it. But if you eat ahead of time, you're going to be more successful. And last but not least, if you're going to do a vegetarian, vegan, or pescatarian style diet, make sure you're consuming some vitamin B12. I talked to many doctors about what you should do when you go on a vegetarian diet, and they all recommend some vitamin B12 supplementation because you're going to be likely deficient in that vitamin by not consuming meat. And a lot of people say that you can't get enough protein on a vegetarian diet. And in truth, there's plenty of complete proteins. Like I still recommend people still eating some quinoa when they do the vegetarian diet. And if you're gonna help you to stay full, eat smaller portion of carbohydrates. Like when I did the vegetarian diet, I would do small portions of rice and whatnot just to help me as a filler. As mentioned before, if you need any help, contact me for advice and help you get sustained results. Now let's go over my top 10 tips to help you be successful with the diet challenge. Number 1, simplify your diet. Have you ever heard of the KISS principle? Keep it simple, silly. A lot of people are doing too many things with their diet, and that's why they're unsuccessful. Focus on the simple things that are going to help you to be successful with your diet. What things do you need to cut out, and what things do you need to add? Remember how I mentioned that your body's like a chemistry experiment. Number 2, have an eating schedule. I talked about this in some of the diets, like the Calorie Counter diet. Make sure that you have a schedule and your life revolves around your way of life. That should make perfect sense, but that's tip number 2. Revolve your diet around your way of life. Number 3, be prepared. My father taught me this, the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. If you're more prepared ahead of time, you're gonna be more successful on your diet or in anything you do in life. Number 4, buy fresh. Whether you're buying fruit, nuts, vegetables, or meat, especially with meat, make sure you're buying fresh stuff. You wanna eat food that's alive, freshly picked, or if you're gonna eat meat, freshly caught fish, freshly farmed, whatever it is. Make sure that you're eating quality stuff. Quality really affects you because the food that you put in your body, the quality of the food, creates a quality body. Number 5, limit liquid calories. I can't tell you how many people are gaining weight because they keep drinking too many calories. Whether it's alcohol or some kind of fruit drink or even a Red Bull or something that's supposed to give you energy, you're actually consuming more calories. So if you want to start cutting the calories in your life, start looking at where you're drinking too many calories. And just keep it simple. Drink water and maybe cut some water with a little bit of fruit juice. As I mentioned in the first tip, keep it simple. Number 6, serving size. Too many people are over consuming. Why do you think America's so fat? We have the super size, the super duper size, and the super duper duper size. People are over consuming. And this goes back to kind of like the liquid calories. People don't know how many calories they're consuming. So think about how much you're consuming, and a good simple way of measuring a serving size is the size of your fist. Everybody's body is a little bit different, but the serving size for an average person is about the size of your fist. So if you eat a piece of meat, that's your fist right there. If you eat some fruit or vegetables, that's a serving size right there. And especially with the Calorie Counter diet, you're paying more attention to the number of calories you're consuming so you're not over consuming. Number 7, eat lots of colors. Too many people get caught up eating the same things over and over and over again. So what you want to do is start looking at different ways where you can start healing your body from the inside out by simply focusing on getting more colors in your diet. Think about when you open your eyes and you look out into the world, you see lots of colors. You should be consuming them too. And just to touch on an aspect of when I study Eastern philosophy, within your body you have these things called chakras, and they're all associated with different colors within the body. So if you want to get those colors balanced, start consuming more colors in your diet. Number 8, exercise and sleep. Now the thing is, if you're exercising more, you're going to be more motivated to eat healthier. And if you're exercising and eating healthier, you're going to be sleeping better. So these things kind of go hand in hand. It's the trifecta. If you exercise and eat healthy, you're going to sleep better. And if you sleep better, you're going to eat healthy, you're going to exercise more. So keep this trifecta in alignment together. And remember to focus on good quality exercise and good quality sleep and using your diet to feed both of those things. Number 9, developing the subconscious mind. Now this is something I'm going to go more deeply into in the next video, but your subconscious mind only works on images. So something that I do at home is I have whiteboards, just like I have right here, all around my room, and I have my goals and I have everything that I want to accomplish written on my whiteboards. That way, even when I'm not paying attention, those things are hitting my subconscious mind. Also, I have pictures of the things I want to accomplish around my house, around my world, right? Like on my fridge. And these help me to work on my subconscious mind. And like I said, help me to attract what I want to accomplish. I'll go more deeper into that in our next video. Number 10, emotional eating. This is possibly the most important part of this presentation. And I actually have another video in this series where I'll go much deeper into this. But you could have things that happen in your past that trigger you to eat certain things. Learning how to figure out what those triggers are and what you're going to eat is a huge step towards you changing your diet or way of life. Thanks for watching this first video in the series. Make sure to tune in next week for our next video as we talk about the mental game.